Alright, hey guys, I'm gonna try to beat Kenji for beating Hastybot. I have to beat him 26 times, or I guess 25 and a half with spread. So I'm just gonna rename my video real quick because I have weird issues with that. But yeah. We'll see if I can pull it off. I don't remember. I'm probably a little bit better at Ultra Blitz than I was a few months ago when I was doing a decent amount. More like 8 months ago at this point. It was right after Woogles got created, but yeah, let's try doing it. Kenji PogChamp got something. So yeah, I'm just gonna quickly rename the video and then I'll go for it. I have this weird thing where it won't let me change the video name in my Streamlabs for some reason, so I have to do it manually on my video. So, oh yeah, sorry WTF, you're on Gideon's turf. Let's see. It'd be kind of shitty if you could memorize my cadence, but we'll see. So yeah, see what happens. Gidfather sucks. Oof. That might be okay actually, since it's Gidfather. Yeah, I mean, I have played this time control against the bot a few times. Which challenge rule were you using, Kenji? Which challenge rule were you doing, Kenji? I'm not sure why, but this is freezing up. Okay. Anything non-void is probably okay. Yeah, I mean, anything that's closer to void will help me as a human. So, okay, I got the name changed. So let's do it. So now I'm on Woogles. I got this PowerPoint that I'll do later tonight. Probably spoiled too much, but play a computer. 30 seconds. Plus 5. Then we'll do, I guess, what's best for me? I guess single and double and 5-point make no difference because the computer will challenge all my phonies no matter what. So is there what challenge rule is Kenji using? I mean, I'd rather just do the exact same thing except Collins to try to be sort of consistent. Alright, that's fine. I guess I'll just do 5-point, but it doesn't matter because the bot doesn't phony. Okay, let's do it. This computer is slow, unfortunately. At least maybe if he doesn't have an A, yeah. I don't know, maybe I should just keep 2 U's. Fuck, that was a typo. Gotta set something up in a way that's difficult to block. Let's see. Do Tala. Any bingos, so that's too bad. Let's see. Alright, well that was nice. Let's see. I don't think I really have that much of a chance, but I guess I would do this and hope to hit a bingo with Shaw. And then that, I mean, that takes hooks. Like, it's possible I can hit some bingo ending in T. Was not in the cards this time. Yeah, I can't hear anything on this computer. I just can't. There's just nothing I can do about that. And this is my streaming computer. So I mean, I have to just work with what I got. You can, I mean, you can hear me. Yeah, I can do that. Okay. Let's do it again. Let's see. What's the best play here? Just do that. Oh, that's not good. Something like that. That's not good. That's not good. I think it is time to throw in the towel on this one. Churro is a big name poker player, which is probably why she got more views. Was she streaming Scrabble? And she was, I mean, that's obviously good for the community. Let's see. See what we're playing. I wish we hit a bingo. See if we can keep hitting them. Let's hit a D for decod. This is not good. See, we can still win if we hit decod with something. Is this gonna work? That's probably not correct. It's not enough to win. Is that not a word? Oh, am I thinking of decad? Shit. Oh! Alright, let's keep going. There we go. That's what we're talking about, right? Let's see. That's a nice, I mean, it's a bingo, but it gave me the, oh wow. Oh, I have that at least. Do I have a bingo? I don't think so. I'm pretty rusty. Oh, there we go. Up there. Block the triple. And let's see. Is this a word? That's not a word. I think I might still be able to pull it off, though. And, yep, we can pull it off. Okay. Cool. So I am capable of winning. Okay. Now I am close to Kenji's. That's not a word. Shit. I didn't think that was a word. I had a very temporary mess up. Do not, yeah. Let's see. Oh boy. Do I have any chance? Alright, let's throw in the towel. Resign gang. I missed wee wee. Alright, let's keep going. Let's see. That scores decently, though. This probably blows up the rack a little too much. I have an eye, so that's nice. There we go. Let's see. Señores. That's all I see. Sensors. I could play was too. That gets rid of an extra. That goes rid of U, but not an extra vowel. Let's see. Yeah, not my game. And then I'm just gonna see if I can get it to work faster on Chrome, because it's a little bit. Yes, Wingbeat takes an S in either side, which is kind of cool. I'm just gonna see if it works better on Chrome, because it's been going very slowly. So let's see. Alright, let's see if this works better. Yeah, I played a misspelled version of bitch. That's not good. Okay. Yeah, this looks better. Yeah, much better. Much better. That's pretty nice. I wasn't expecting that. I'm not that far behind. Let's see. I'm behind like 90, so yeah, I do still have somewhat of a chance. Looks like not quite gonna happen. Oh man. This isn't a word. Oh well. Okay. Oops. Let's Yeah, this was the play I said was pretty nice. Let's get Chrome out. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, no, it's the wrong window. I have my Twitch is looking for Microsoft Edge, which how do I get it to see? There we go. There we go. Yeah, this was the play I said was pretty nice. Hastybot got Ashramites down. That was pretty nice. Let's see. Is it happening? Sorry. I do not know what's happening. There we go. Yeah. So Ashramites was the word I said was pretty nice. It played through AMI. See if I can get a better viewpoint of me. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going. I'm 1 and 6. Can we get to 26? I have Eminent, and it plays. That's how we do it. This is how we do it. Let's see. There we go. Did I get enough? No, not quite. I think that's maybe my only second double-double that requires it to be in a 9. That's pretty cool. Let's see, Dartitis. That doesn't play. I don't think I have anything. It's too bad. If ME were a little lower, I could have air times. Yeah. So at least I got denounces down. That's pretty good. Let's try to get the camera a little bit. There we go. There we go. Yeah, let's see. I mean, I think I can get more than. I think I can get more than 1. Let's see. All right. See, I can build up a lead now. Never mind. Let's see. Well, it's not going to block, so I can keep trying. Let's see. See if I can hit something. Never mind. I wished on the monkey's paw for a bingo to happen. Didn't sanitize my input. Alright, let's keep going. Just gotta exchange. Let's see. Alright, let's go. Start with 2 bingos. There we go. Let's see. Alright, I'm up a bit. So hopefully we can hold on now. I don't know. I just got to score. Alright, did I pull it off? There we go. Alright. See? Capable of winning more than one. Okay. See if we can get to 26. It's too bad. There seems to be a bit of lag that has to do with the fact that I'm streaming it. I don't know. Let's see. Quite a bit behind. Alright, it's time to resign. I'm not on pace right now. I need to win some more games. Though if I win one more, I'll be on pace for 25, which is at least close. Yeah, it's probably a decent way of doing it. Best 10 out of 12. I mean, I guess it's like, how much skill is there in having your worst run happen to be a 50-second one instead of 41? Those are both really bad, and we're really looking for who can get the 6s instead of the 7s. Let's see. That's not a word. I cannot see anything. So you can make the joke about how I found it if you want. On, let's see, maidens, medians, sideman, domains, and Medinas. Those don't play. I'll just do that. End forest, softener. I don't see anything. I don't see anything quickly enough. There we go. Can't miss that. Okay. Oh, I'm not going to win. Resoften, yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see. 49 is better than, I don't know. We get a Matthew O'Connor special, so that's good. Retain, detainer. Okay. Let's see. Pooja. Gavel. Yeah, okay. It's time to resign. My rating will be minimally affected. Fuck you. Because these are unrated. Let's see. We're gonna plug along. My lord. Get this in while we still can. Let's see. Ah! It's getting closer again. Let's make sure we win. There we go. There we go. Let's see. Okay, he doesn't have anything good, so I think we're good. He doesn't have a vowel, so I think we got this. We got this. No, we don't got this. Oh, that was close. Oh, man. That was messed up. The end game was low on time. That's not a word. Let's see what we got. There we go. Let's see. Oh my god. Cesar, can you take me off the shit RNG list? I feel like I've done the time for the crime. I guess we'll leave the triple open, but it's not gonna help. Wow, imagine if I hit something like Revivers right at the end. I'm surprised it stayed open for so long. Alright, let's keep going. I'm not tilted, don't worry. Let's keep doing it. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. Oh, let's see. Got that. Do this. Let's see. Some high scoring non-bingos. I think I should probably not fish as much because I'm fishing for bingos that I won't be seeing in time. I don't know though. Terrible out in 2. Oh, no, 2. But I win. Okay. So yeah, so I'm not hopeless in this format. But I would like to figure out why this camera keeps going to black. Alright, cool. So not tilted, right? I just won. Got a good run out with a joke play. Do I have Aniridia? No. Don't see it in time, unfortunately, if it exists. Go with a Xenia. Let's get a blank. I want a blank. The blank is my favorite tile. There we go. There we go. No. No, no, no. That's not what I want. Let's see. Should I fish for something? Can I fish for anything good? Maybe I'll go for a bingo. No, you know, I'll do that. I have to bingo anyways. Alright, that didn't work. Okay. Oh well. Rejonios. That is a legal move, unfortunately. Alright, I'm not on pace, but I feel like I'm at least warmed up a bit, so we'll see if we can improve. Let's see. So I gotta get some moves down. That's a decent one. That's a decent one. There we go. That's got to get plays down now, I think. Is that enough? There we go. I win by 1. Wow. Phew. I missed Entozoa. The curse is finally over. Shit. Alright, well, I won. So there we go. I won by 1 point. Wow. Let's see. What was it? What is this word? Is there a word here? Any word that has 50 anagram buddies, I always struggle on. Unfortunately. Let's see. Can't see anything better. Oh boy. Gotta hit something. I have a blank. It's good. Ugh. I know I have bingos. Cannot see them in this amount of time. Rough game. What am I thinking of? Ugh. Does Ragtail not take an S? Huh. Oh, it did. I thought Ragtail's Ragsdale or something. Yeah, I mean, I'm not on pace. Right now I'm on pace to win 20. So I will have to catch up somehow. I would have Firebase somehow in another universe. Alright. This isn't happening. Let's see. Okay. Good game. Still haven't drawn a consonant. There we go. Let's see. Do I have Etesian? I don't. Alright, let's see what we got. Alright, this is good. That is a good start. That's a good play. I'm up a bit. Let's see what we got. That's not good. That's not the right place to put it. I'm not going to win, but that keeps it a little closer. I meant to play of there. Nookie or Ruinek. Ruinek's got blocked. There's this one's for you, Kenji. Oh, it's not good. Let's draw the M. No. see what else we got. See if we can get anything going. Nope. If only the T were right here, we would be all set. Alrighty. Let's do it. There we go. There we go. Falarian. No. Frail. Still way ahead, which is good. Cow. And that's not enough. Anyways, so yeah, there's number 5. 18. Is that a? I don't think that's a word. Alright, there's still a shot. Never mind. There we go. Is there a bingo here? Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Alright, I'll see if we can get something going. Can we get a bingo? I mean, I think a play like this actually works really well against the bot because it'll default to something up here, and then I can bingo here. Anyways. This would be fun. Fuck, that doesn't quite work. That would have been fun. Amanages, Melenas. Alright, do I have a triple? There we go. Nice job. Still ahead though, so hopefully we can hold it. Let's see, what's the best way to try to come back, specifically against the bot? Is this, well, can I just bank on him opening the board? I mean, he did a little bit. Let's see. Let's hit something good. There we go. Sorry, my computer is frozen up. That's too bad. I had a good chance this game. I don't know what happened. It's too bad, because I had a good chance that game. See if this works. I do not know what's going on. Alright, let's keep trying. I think I'm going to do 50 games and then go into the PowerPoint slides since everyone's already here. Alright. Something's going on with the keyboard, so I'm just gonna abort this for now. I don't know what's going on with the keyboard, but something's going on, so I'm just gonna go into my PowerPoint that I had planned for today already, because I don't know what's going on, but my PowerPoint should be fine. I will do it on stream sometime, but something was going on. So instead, we have a PowerPoint today on range finding that I think you should all enjoy. Hopefully everyone can learn something. So yeah, so our next topic, and remember, feel free to ask any questions. I want questions, but if you're unsure of something, I would prefer if you phrased it as a question and not as a confidently incorrect statement. So let's get into it. So it looks like we got a good crowd right now, which is awesome, and I'm hoping to have a nice discussion in the chat. And yeah, so let's talk about range finding. So, what is a range is going to be the first question if we're talking about range finding. So, basically, a range is anything you can have. And how do we decide what you can have? Well, it's based on the moves you make. There's only certain things you can have if you play a certain way, right? So my range is anything I can have, and your range is anything you can have. Any set of tiles for Scrabble, because that is the thing that you have that your opponent doesn't know what they are, and then my opponent has some and I don't know what they are. So that's the thing we're looking for. So basically that's what a range will be about. It'll be in an incomplete information game, and it'll be the thing that our opponent has that we don't know. Can you have a range? Whether or not you think you do if you're playing a game of Scrabble. And then ranges are going to be weighted based on how likely they are to appear. If there's more than one way to have something, we're going to think of it as one combination of it. So let's get further into it. So what is a combination? So a combination is the building block of a range. It's basically one instance of something you can have. So given permutations and whatever, there's literally only one way to draw JQXZK blank blank. Right? I mean, I guess you could theoretically draw one of them first, one of them second, but we're going to consolidate all those because it doesn't matter which tile you drew first if you just have it. So if that's in somebody's range, there will only ever be one combination of it. And then something like AEINORT, that's the most likely rack, right? So for counting combinations of that, it's 9 for the number of A's, and then 12 for the number of E's, and then so on, 9 I's, 6 N's, 8 O's, 6 R's, 6 T's, right? So there's about 1.6 million combinations of that. So if that's in our opponent's range and there's no tiles that are like seen on our rack or seen on the board that are any of those, there will be, if they can have that as part of their range, there will be 1.6 million ways that they can have it. And so when we're comparing the two, if we're worried about both of those being in our opponent's range, we're going to be 1.6 million times more worried about AEINORT because it's that much more likely. So combinations are important to think about because obviously there's 1.6 million times more combinations of AEINORT than there are of JQXZK blank blank, which is tied for the least likely thing. So let's do some more math with combinations, right? So we're gonna have to look at both in our rack and on the board if we are counting combinations, because our opponent can't have any of the tiles on our rack. They also can't have any of the tiles on the board. So if we're in the middle of the game, the calculation for AEINORT, it might be this, which is pretending that there's 7 A's unseen, 10 E's, 3 I's, 4 N's, 7 O's, 2 R's, and 5 T's. So that would be only 58,000, which is obviously a lot less. And then at the same time, if there's tiles on the board, then that will lower the total number of combinations of anything they could have, because it's going to be, instead of, right, not at the start, because we can see 7 of our own tiles, it would be 93 choose 7, which is 9 billion something. So there's 9 billion something different ways for your opponent to have a group of 7 tiles, right? And then maybe in the middle of the game, we're down to 50 choose 7. Well, that's only 99 million. So even if it's only 58,000 at this point, that as a percentage of this 99 million versus the 1.6 million as a percentage of 9 billion, that's a bit higher, right? I think it's like 1 in 2,000 or so, even less, compared to like 1 in 7,000. So you're going to be a lot more likely to have something like this if those were the exact numbers. And then, yeah, I say remember to exclude the tiles on your own rack when counting combinations. Your opponent can't have those, right? So then there's a couple other random things we're going to talk about. Let's look at a rack like this. You see the rack I gave in the comments. In order to calculate the number of combinations, you have to be a little bit careful, because the second E, it's not as likely to draw EE as it is to draw AE, because there is only one way to draw EE versus you could draw the A and then the E. So you're going to have to divide it by the factorial of the number of repeats. So it ends up being like 9 times 12 times 11 for the fact that 1 E's already gone, times 9 times 6 times 6 times 6, but then divided by 2. So you just have to be careful there. So that is how we count combinations. Then the next slide we have is why are ranges important? So ranges are the building block of an incomplete information game, because when my opponent makes a play, I don't know what they kept, but what I do know is that they kept one of the things that they could have kept, and I do know that based on just how permutations work in general, it will be weighted towards the things you can have more of, such as E's, A's, I's, whatever, just solely because of permutations of tiles. Corona. At the same time, my opponent is thinking about my own range this way, so I will have to keep my own range in mind, because if my range is too obvious, my opponent will be able to exploit me by doing things that work well for their range and badly for mine. And then this is just sort of a general thing about game theory in general. Basically, in order to solve an incomplete information game, you must prove that what you're doing is the best thing for the sake of your entire range. And the reason for this is because you could theoretically have anything in your range, and if you do, it will be weighted towards the things you have more of, because, well, just general permutations in general. It's like how in poker you're more likely to have an offsuit hand than a suited hand, just because of what's being dealt to you. If you're just looking at pre-flop or whatever, obviously once you get to the flop, it'll be weighted towards suited hands because they're better. But you're equally likely to have one combination of anything in your entire range. So you basically have to come up with a strategy that works for everything that's in your range. So we did a range finding exercise on Tuesday, and since Alec is in the audience, I actually think it'd be fun to just quickly look at that game again. Just because Alec is in the audience, and it was a game against him, and it was a play he made And we tried to consider Alec's own range, and I just like, since he's in the comments, I think it'd be fun to see if he can actually tell me what he kept because of what we ended up putting him on, which was pretty specific. So yeah, Alec, if you would entertain us, and I am pulling up the game in Quackle, but can be a little bit fussy. I might have to wait a minute to get it in the window capture. Yeah, sorry. Do that. Let's see. Can we get Quackle going? There we go. So yeah. So earlier today, we decided to do range finding, and it was against Alec. And basically, sorry, on Tuesday, Alec makes this play of jab, and basically we put him on exactly one E and 4 other consonants as his leave. So Alec, if you're still listening, do you remember what you kept here when you played jab? Because we put you on exactly one E and 4 consonants. So were we correct? I'm sure there's some way for you to have something that's not that. Okay, that seems reasonable. See, it's an E and 4 other consonants, right? So it's all pretty close. Alex is going for a long term. He knows he can play the Y off next turn and probably bingo. So we were correct. He had an E and 4 other consonants. Scott knew an S was in it. I don't think that's guaranteed, but I bet that's more likely than not. Because he could also have something like this. Like, not the C. Like, this is a reasonable way to play jab, too. So I don't think he has to have an S. I think there's probably at least a 50-50 chance he has an S. But at the very least, you can come up with things where he doesn't have an S. But Scott was right. So good job, Scott. In Scrabble, Y is a vowel, but because I said you have an E and 4 other consonants, and Y being a consonant makes me right, Y is a consonant. Okay, so that's a brief exercise because I looked over this game last week, sorry, on Tuesday, and we were doing some range finding because I thought jab was a good exercise in range finding because your range is pretty thin here. You only draw 2 other tiles, which means whatever your range is, it'll be 5/7 of your total rack, which is important. And then we talked about how Atomi's is a lot better than Tamas's given your range. Okay, let's go back to the Google slide for a little bit. We got, so here is our game tree. I wrote a little bit about this on Scrabbleverse because I felt like it and because Josh Greenwood wanted me to write educational stuff. But basically, the game tree is a tree, and this is not like a physical tree, right? It's one of those trees we use in computer science or math or game theory where we're just looking at all the different possible outcomes. For computer science, it would be to like traverse all the like items in a list. But for us, all the items in our list is basically all possible outcomes of the game. So whenever we're playing the game, we'll end up on a specific branch, and basically it looks like this, right? Let's get a picture of a tree. Not a pine tree. That does not prove my point. A different kind of tree. So it's like if I open with QI, we're going over here. Then if U exchange, we go here and then here and then here and then here, etc. So you have to consider every branch of the game tree because so Will, I think, what was I? Was I like 5 and 20? I was like 5 and 26, and I was running into issues where my computer was being slow, so I will do the rest later. So yeah, basically, when we consider previous branches of the game tree, for an incomplete information game, every time our opponent makes a play, they are going to be telling us something that they have, because there are different things where, like, if this was correct, if you had this would be correct. You wouldn't have done what you did. And you can figure that out in Scrabble by going back and being, you could not have possibly kept an S here. You could not have possibly kept an N here. You could not have possibly kept ER here. Things like that. And when you try to rule things out like that, you will, by process of elimination, everything else will be the things that your opponent could have, and that forms their range when you get to the present. And so it's important to consider the past, because things in the past can help determine what your opponent has in the present. And then we have to have some caveats for Scrabble. If our opponent has just bingoed, then we know their rack is just 7 random tiles out of what's unseen to us, and that makes the range, anything in the past that determined their range completely irrelevant, because we already know that they have to have just 7 random tiles. Then, for the sake of our own range, the same applies if we just bingoed, because we know we have 7 random tiles, and the bingo doesn't give anything away, because the bingo just tells us that we kept 0 tiles and drew 7 replacement ones. So then the other way the game tree can become irrelevant is if the bag is empty, it doesn't matter. Like, we could theoretically go back and say, okay, well, at this point, there was a 78% chance that you kept a blank. But guess what? It doesn't actually matter, because we know what our opponent has. So we don't have to worry about if they have a 70, because we know they have a 100% or a 0% chance of having a blank, because we are able to track and figure out what they have. Okay, so here's our first range finding exercise. Our opponent opens with jumper for 50, right? And so we're gonna, I'll go back into Quackle and just put it on the board if you want to visualize it that way. So here's Quackle. So we will start a new game, and the new player 1 has played jumper for 50. So what did they keep? And the best way to think about what they did keep in this case is to think about what they didn't keep, because what they didn't keep is going to be a lot shorter of a list. So I want some participation in the comments, and I want everyone to give me a tile that our opponent could not possibly have kept. So please, let's get some participation going in the comments. And yes, S, right? They would have played jumpers if they had an S. And if that question mark is a blank, they could not have had that either. We are assuming that our opponent is better than god-awful, which means that they did not keep an S or a blank. Keep going. Let's have some more ones. There's a couple other ones that are not possible, because that would make jumper a bad play. We're assuming our opponent's a good player here, so. Is that an I? That is also true. Correct. If they had an I, they would have played jumpier. If they had a pipe, they would have played jump piper. Correct. Yeah, okay. So I was 5 and 26, and my computer started slowing down. So we moved on to my PowerPoint / Quackle positions thing. And a Y, good job, Josh. A Y, they would have played jumpy instead of jumper. There's one other tile where it's definitely the wrong play to play jumper if you're keeping it. Can someone tell me what that is? Anybody? The D, correct. If your opponent was keeping a D, yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure if those question marks were blanks, but yes, blank. If your opponent was keeping a D, they would have played jumped. And then I think there's some marginal cases. I think maybe there are people where if they were keeping an O, they would have played Joram. And there are maybe some people where if they were keeping an A, they would have played Jumar. Would it be better to say shouldn't have rather than couldn't have? Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm assuming my opponent is better than god-awful, so the very least, the S, the blank, and the I are like definitely not. But yeah, we can go with shouldn't have. They shouldn't have any of those. There are probably some people where if they had an A, they would play Jumar, and some people where if they had an O, they would play Joram, and by that I mean Joel Horn. But for the most part, it's D, I, S, Y, and blank. So those are all the tiles that they didn't keep. So all the tiles that they could have kept are going to be typed out by me. So that's everything else. The second thing I commented was everything else. So their rack on the next turn is going to consist of one of the tiles that I typed out. All right, and obviously it's going to be weighted towards permutations. You would pass and hope for a jump rope. Okay. And then I'm going to have 6 random tiles. So what this means is there's still a decent chance of me having an S or a blank on my rack next time because I drew 6 new tiles to replace my other tiles. So there's still a good chance of me having an S, but it's less because I only have 6 shots at the S instead of 7. So let's consider what that means for our opponent. Let's pick a rack where there are a couple different plays that are like a close call. So let's consider Bucks versus Buck, right? I don't know how close of a call this is. It's possible Bucks is just better. But let's pretend, for the sake of making my example work, that Bucks and Buck are exactly as good as each other if we're not thinking about what our opponent could have. Now, if we're not thinking about what our opponent could have, that's the equivalent of pretending that they have 7 random tiles. However, once we see Jumper go on the board, our opponent is going to be slightly less likely to have an S. And that means that the weakness of Buck, being that we give our opponent this spot for the S, is going to be slightly less bad. And if it's slightly less bad, and these two plays we're pretending they're completely equal value, then that would make Buck a slightly better play once we start accounting for our opponent's rack. And yes, there are all of those. So we can replace the B with an F if we want to, right? It's a similar concept, and we can just pretend that we have 2 legal moves. They're exactly the same in value. And if we leave the F off, if we leave the S off, if we pretended that with no information about our opponent's rack, yes, that's the point. There's no other hook. Puck takes an A. Tuck takes a front S. We can make it Guck if you want, if you guys are too immature. There we go. So we're going to pretend that Gucks and Guck, if we're not thinking about our opponent's rack, we're going to pretend these two plays are exactly the same in terms of like merit or value. Now, if we start to think about our opponent's range, they're less likely to have an S. That means both that they're less likely to hit Gucks, right? And we're more likely to hit it because we have the S, and we can use it as soon as they don't. Why are we playing a 4-year-old? I don't know. It is Gideon, but I don't know. Oh, shit. Gucky. Anyways, you get the point. If these two plays are equally valued, given no information about our opponent's rack, you'll notice we didn't specify a partial opponent's rack. But if we specify one single tile that's not an S or a blank, our opponent is going to be less likely to have an S, which means that they're going to be less likely to use this spot. And since we have the S, we can use it as long as they don't. We're going to be more likely to use this spot. That's going to tilt the scales in favor of Guk. And that's how range finding works. Once we start to think about things like this, there might be a case where you shouldn't be scared of some hook. There might be a case where you should be more scared of a hook. And you can only do that if you're finding your opponent's range. Yes, opponent didn't keep a Y, so they're less likely to have that either. Which makes Guk even better. Alright, cool. So that's our first example. We'll go back to my Google slide, which is back here, and then I think everything, practical application 1, part 2, I think I talked about all this already, right? I mean, I also put it here. If two plays are close to similar in terms of value otherwise, we've already baked setting up an S hook into the equation, and we've already accounted for that, and then they're equal. Truthmate, can you stop just censoring random people? I prefer not. As long as they're not, you know, posting complete garbage about the game as a fact, or like being racist or mean or whatever. Just let people talk. So the play setting up an S spot becomes the better play because our opponent is less likely to have an S. And then in this case, our opponent played jumper, which means they drew 6 new tiles. And so if they drew 6 new tiles, they're only slightly less likely to have an S, which means this is only gonna sort of flip the most marginal of cases. And there are gonna be plenty of cases where, you know, it's a point better to not set up the S, and so that point's not gonna flip it because they're only a tiny bit less likely to have an S. So there are gonna be situations like that, and you gotta account for those. So yeah, and then practical application 2 is also going to be in Quackle, although it's going to be a full-blown position. So go back to Quackle, and we're gonna open because I already saved it. We got range finding 1. Nope. All right, so our 4-year-old child opponent has just played F, and they didn't actually keep this. I deliberately put something in that they didn't keep. Let's get some comments. Let's get some participation, and I want you to comment something that they could have had. So everybody, if you can, please comment a 5-tile leave that you think your opponent could have had. A, B, C, D, G. So I don't think that's possible, Alec, because I think that a play like Fadge would be a better play. I see what you're going for now, though, right? Fadges. Fadge, right? So we know they didn't keep this, but I didn't get the joke. So, oh, uncover the tile pool. It's a little small, so I'll type it out. Alec, this is a child prodigy. It's okay. So yeah. That's this is like Caillou. Did you know Caillou's a Scrabble prodigy? It's Caillou. We're playing against Caillou. A-E-N-N-S. Let's check that. I think that would work. Let's see. And yeah, this looks like F is a good play. Awesome. Let's oh, it's not spelled that way. It's spelled like this. It's about a bald guy, which is why, because Caillou is French for pebble, and he's bald. That's why it's called that. they can't have an I would say. That is a great point. Because you know what happens if they have an I? Well, they're going to play if here, and nid in if. And that is always possible if they have an I, because we know they have the F, they put the F down, they have the I and the F, because we're assuming they have the I, and so they can play if here. And then the exact same thing happens when they have an O and that same F, because they play of. I'm sure you could contrive some weird position where there's something like EEFO. Yeah, although I don't know. I'm sure you could come up with something like that. That's N4. Oh, I'm sure you could come up with something, but the fact of the matter is, if you have to contrive some crazy rack in order for them to be keeping an O, FJOO blank. That's not possible. But if you have to contrive some crazy rack, and you can only come up with one even after trying to contrive it, it's probably not going to be a big part of your opponent's range. But if you can come up with all kinds of stuff, like DENRT, never mind, not this. There we go. That's one. It only took me 3 tries. Then that's going to be a bigger part of your range. And one thing we're going to notice is that even if they're keeping an O, they're very likely to have kept another E. So they're virtually guaranteed. Yeah, you can come up with a few consonant-heavy racks that your opponent could have kept, but the issue there is that they're going to end up with... So this might be best, but they can also play Fencer. So it says it likes the value of it, but they can also Fencer might be better here. Generally, if you're keeping a consonant heavy rack here, right, you're generally gonna have. If you kept the T, you can play F, but if you're keeping all kinds of consonants, you're usually gonna do something that plays less, either plays more tiles off or less vowels. Can a computer enumerate a range? In theory, yes. The best practical way of doing it would probably be to sim 100 random, 100, 1,000, 1 million, whatever number. More would obviously better. You would sim like a million random racks, and then you would check what the best play is, and then for any of them where F is the best play, you would, yeah, I mean, I think that's how Elise does it too. So you would sim a million racks, and then every time F is the best play, you would put that in your range, and then that would be your range. That's how you enumerate a range. EFNRT makes sense because of trank. Yeah, that also works. So yeah, there are some reasons why you might, like, you could have 5 consonants and you could keep NRT to fish for trank, but the point stands that you are very likely to have an E. You might even be over 75%. You might be 90% to have kept an E. I don't know the answer, but it's entirely possible that you have a 90% chance of keeping an E when you play F, because other things are blocked. Other plays, some things like a T would often make would make F a better play, and so you're very likely to have an E. So I've given our opponent, new player 1, this rack, and there's a couple things to consider. We could play QI here. We could play MI here. We could play male, and upon first glance, I mean, male looks like a decent play because we have an S, and we're behind a little, so we don't mind setting up something even if our opponent has a good chance of hitting it, because we are behind a bit, and we have the S to hit it if we get a chance, right? So yeah, it takes E, L, S. So this is the point I'm making. Since our opponent's very likely to have kept an E here, since it's a large part of their range, this male play is not going to be a good play because our opponent will always be able to hit this spot down here because they have an E so much of the time. If they don't, they could have drawn it, which is also another part of their range, not having kept an E but then hitting one, or an S, or an L, or a blank. So male is going to end up not being as good of a play, and we're going to prefer to make a play like QI, where we can catch up by fishing and hitting a bingo such as animals, maligns, uh, monials. Those all hit over there. Seminal, anything. Maybe something down here too. So in a position like this, it's important to consider your opponent's range and how the plays you make interact with your opponent's range. Because if we didn't think about our opponent's range, there's a good chance we would end up making this play to set up our S. But this play becomes an absolute disaster when you consider how likely your opponent is to have kept an E after playing F. Lingams, yeah. There's a bunch of different ones, and that becomes a better route to come back than trying to hit the triple with our S. So yeah, that is ranges and range finding and how important it is to consider your opponent's range and the effect that it has on the board. So hopefully next time you're playing, when your opponent makes a play, you consider their range and what they could have had and the effect that, yeah, so Alex is also pointing out, if we play QI and we draw the P, we can do mana pulse. And then if we draw the E, we can do manliest or melanist or whatever. And then if this got blocked, manliest. If we draw the T, that's right. We can do that. So yeah, you really have to consider your opponent's range when you are making decisions in Scrabble, because the best decision will, A, it'll be the best for the sake of your range, and B, it'll be the best considering your opponent's range. So yeah, that is pretty much it in my lesson for range finding. And I'm glad I was able to come up with, there's only one E unseen, but our opponent's very likely to have it. But they're not 100%. So we could draw manliest with the T, through the T, in theory. So yeah, so this is my lesson on range finding, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. And I'll probably start streaming it in 2 weeks when I have completed moving to Boston. But it's been great, and I am not done yet. I'm going to keep trying to come up with topics like this where I can do the Google slide and then quackle with some sort of relevant position, because I think that's one of the best ways to learn, is to immediately see something where the topic being discussed makes sense. And range finding is cool because it pretty much it works every single time, as long as your opponent didn't just bingo. You can try to come up with a range. So you could just go to a random game on cross tables, right? And you could just go on cross tables, right? Could pick a random game, right? Just go down the list and pick a random game. And you could just go in and be like, let's see. Right? What didn't I keep when I played EE? What did I keep when I played EE? Right? I didn't keep ANRST when I played EE because I would have a bingo. I didn't keep ARSTT. I would have had a bingo. I did not keep I. I would have exchanged. And you can do that anytime. I mean, you could even do it looking at Josh's entire rack. You can see him play Mai, and you can say, what else would he have kept? What else could he have kept? You can't do it when I bingo, because I just have 7 random tiles. But that's the thing about range finding. Anyways, I'm pretty sure I win this game, but I don't remember. No, didn't win this game, apparently. But yeah, that's how range finding works. And so range finding is going to be super important, not just in Scrabble. Yep, I would have a notable bingo. But range-finding is important in any incomplete information game because anything your opponent will do in an incomplete information game will convey information. And you need to capture that information because that information will help you make the best decision when you're making a decision. Right? I mean, it's like Daniel Negreanu, right? You can't be loosey-goosey eating a sandwich, and anything you do at the table conveys information. All right, I am heading out, but thanks everyone for watching. I hope you learned something, and I will see everyone in 2 weeks.